Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Knock Rio, live from Copacabana, Rio de Janeiro. And I just wanted to kind of drop a piece of content this morning because I want to kind of talk about some of the things we go through as engineers, as studio owners. Everybody thinks it's glamorous, everything is cool, and you come in and it's just this wonderful experience, but sometimes this life can be very frustrating. So I wanted to kind of talk about what kind of occurred this morning with me, because I know it's something that happens to those of us who are in this position as studio owners, also being artists, also being producers. We have these frustrations. So I'm gonna make this one too long. It's just something I'm doing. I figured I'll make some content out of it. Out of the frustrating situation, I'll get something good, something positive out of it. Maybe I help somebody. So this morning, I came in and had a beat that I made a while back. I was gonna use it for this other mixtape submission thing that I'm doing, but I liked the beat so much last night when I was listening to it, I'm like, no, I got some ideas for it. I wanna come in today and I wanna record something to it, maybe write a hook, get the hook down, if not the verses too, because I need to release something new. So I get here this morning, I pull it up, everything is working, everything is great. Playing back fine, I'm writing, the juices are flowing, the creative juices are just going crazy. I've got all these different ideas for the hook, and I go to stop playback in order to start it from the beginning again, and it just sits there, doesn't do anything. So there's no message or anything like that. It just doesn't say it's not responding or anything, it just sits there. So I'm like, okay, I'll just kind of hang out or whatever. So after about 15 minutes, I'm like, okay, this thing is not coming back. So I close out the DAW, which is Cakewalk. It's Cakewalk and MPC Beats. So I open it back up, I hit play. No, actually I ended up opening it up and it wouldn't open. So I'm like, okay, that's strange. So I tried that 3 or 4 times and I noticed that MPC Beats would get to 73, 75% opening and the bar would stop. So that tells me there's a problem right there. For whatever reason, the VST is not opening. So, that's frustrating, but I'm like, okay, maybe it's not that serious or whatever. So I was able to open the program. I hit, I think, Alt, the Alt button or the Shift button when you're opening a file that doesn't work in Cakewalk. And it allows you to kind of select which of the plugins you don't want to open. So I said no on the MPC Beats so that it didn't try to open MPC Beats, but it would open up everything else. When I did that, it opened right up and I could play it. But obviously I don't have MPC Beats, which is where all the drums are and the main piano. So that presents an issue because now I don't have the drums, I don't have the piano. So I'm thinking okay, how do I work around this? But fortunately, I was able to actually get it to open. I don't really remember how I did it, but after working around with it and playing around with it, I was able to get it to open. But when I was playing it, it wouldn't play the MPC Beats. I'm like, why is there no sound? Why is there no sound coming through MPC Beats? And then I eventually noticed that there's no transport button. There's no play button. So it's grayed out. So it doesn't play. So I'm like, I couldn't figure out a way to get it to come back or whatever. So, but unfortunately it was open. All the data's there. I can see the data, but it just won't, the transport from Cakewalk won't push MPC Beats to play the beat. So what I did was I saved it as its own project in MPC Beats. I just saved an MPC Beats project file. So then I closed out Cakewalk. I was able to go into the standalone version of MPC Beats, open it up, and what do you know? It plays. So the transport button's there, everything's there, and it plays. So then I had to go about and just export. I figured okay, let me export all of the tracks in MPC Beats as audio, and then I can take those audio tracks and just put them back into Cakewalk and then dump all that down. And I got the same thing. I got the beat again. It's just in audio, not in MIDI. So playing around with MPC Beats, I'm exporting it. There's a an option to explode the tracks because they were all on like one project, one loop or whatever like that. They had separate tracks in it, but it would only export as a stereo wave file and everything would play. But when I hit the little, the little selection to explode tracks so I can get all of the tracks separate, all of the drums separate, those keys separate, it wouldn't work. It would export it, but then when you go back to the exported file, there'd be no audio in there. So now here's another problem. It's like, okay, why is it not exploding the tracks? Why is it not giving me separate tracks or whatever? So eventually I had to find a workaround for that. I figured out it wouldn't do it. So I ended up having to solo out each one of the tracks. Just solo the track, run and export. Solo the track, run and export like normal. And that's how I ended up getting my drums back. I dumped them in the Cakewalk and sequenced that, up. And now I'm dumping all of that, the whole beat, because the whole beat was in MIDI. I'm dumping all of that to audio and creating another, file for it so that I just have audio. And then we can mix and record from there. It's fine because it's going to save me a lot of CPU. When I go into, record, I've got CPU to add effects and all that kind of stuff that I want to, add and all that type of thing. So the whole moral of the story is, as a producer, as a recording engineer, as a studio owner, you got to have solutions to problems. You may not always be able to get the solution that you want, but you got to know your softwares and your equipment enough to try to find the workarounds. And me being in here by myself and working on my own projects, when you come across those problems, those are teaching moments. So those are moments where you're learning how to navigate and how to get out of this problem. So now when you have an artist that comes in, like, okay, this is a serious problem or this is a problem I can get around. Because if they're paying you by the hour, this whole process took me like an hour and a half. So the client is not going to want to pay you for that hour and a half that your computer had a problem. So you got to be able to kind of navigate that situation. Like, hey, look, I can fix this problem. It's going to take a little bit or whatever like that for me to do it. I'm not going to charge you for this time, because this is my issue with the computer. I'm not going to charge you for the time. That makes your client feel good. It's taking a little bit away from the time that they have in the studio. Maybe if they're on a tight schedule, it's a little tough for that. But if they've got pretty much open for the day and you're open for the day and you can kind of just extend their time a little bit, they're not worried about it so much. They go do what they do. They might go write, they might go smoke, they might go drink something. They're going to do what they do. But it's a moment where you can kind of bond with your client a little bit. You had some adversity, but you guys overcame it. And that's when they trust you, when they see that the result is good and you fixed it. Now they start to trust you a little bit. But you got to know your equipment, you got to know your softwares, you've got to go through some battles and things before you get to that point where you can say, hey, I've got solutions to the problems. And so, I just wanted to kind of jump on here and just talk about that situation a little bit, because it can be frustrating and it can definitely be tough. But don't look at all of those situations where it's hard, in the moment as a loss or something that, is insurmountable. Those are the things that, in your 10,000 hours of becoming a professional, those are the things that you're going to come across. And that's why your clients pay you the money. And that's why you can demand the price that you're demanding, because you have solutions and your equipment, what's going on with your DAWs and your softwares, and you can kind of find workarounds and solutions to help them get to where they need to be. So just wanted to jump on here and give like a small quick video on that, just because it was a situation that happened. And even though it's frustrating, it ruined a little bit of my creativity and stopped the juices flowing, I still was able to get something positive out of it, which is some content for YouTube. So remember to check me out on the Hip Hop Save the Community shows. I think I've got 3 episodes up there now. And then check me out on the live beat making on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock Eastern time. It's 11 o'clock my time in the morning on Saturdays here in Rio de Janeiro, but I think it's in New York time, it's 9 a.m. So I get on and I'm on TikTok and I'm on IG doing that under Knock Real Beats on IG, Knock Real Beats 2 on TikTok. So I've got those couple of shows going. I do post those on my YouTube as well after I'm finished. I get that put up there for you guys to watch it when you have your free time, because I know that's early in the morning for you. Check out my beatfi.com. It's a place for producers to kind of open a little store to sell their beats. It offers the ability to make payment plans with the producer. So now as a producer, you know if the artist is serious because they're putting down a deposit on your beat. You know that they're going to come back and pay the rest. You know, they set that all up on the site. It's very easy to do. And then you can go in there and set up your own little store like on my BeatFi. So that's kind of cool. We also offer NFTs there, all that kind of stuff. We have the NFT store. I don't know yet if you guys can do that individually, but I have the NFT store. If you need help, I can help you set that up too. We have merch on there too, specifically Hip Hop Save the Community, which is one of the shows I do. Hip Hop Save the Community shirts on there and hoodies and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of cool too. And we can also feature you if you're an artist that has, a track that you're releasing and you have a video for it and it's on YouTube. We can put that on the website as well, just to kind of help you, market that a little bit and kind of get out there. It's a good place to be. It can't hurt just to be out there. Maybe someone will see it. So once again, this is your boy Knock Rio. I appreciate your time today. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. About to go into the weekend. Everybody be safe and take it easy. We'll see you soon.